Finally talking about the Archer & Olive acrylographs and giving you my thoughts as well as troubleshooting tips. Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today I am finally talking about the Archer & Olive acrylograph pens. So I've been using these guys probably for the last year now, and I've been using them fairly consistently, so I feel very comfortable talking to you about them. I do remember my first impressions of them. I wrote them down. I'll be sharing that with you as well. And then I'm going to share the pros and cons, and I'm going to share some troubleshooting tips for you, and we can figure this out together. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Okay, so this is the box that the acrylographs come in. Mine's a little warped. It doesn't show up this warp, but it's just warped. When you open your box, you're going to find a blending palette, directions for use, as well as tips. And then these are where the pens sit, stored safely. You also get some additional nibs as well that you can, in case things go a little bit sideways. And then there is directions on how to blend the pens. Now these instructions are great and are obviously very valid, but I'm going to share my experiences with you and how I kind of manage some of the more temperamentalness of the pens. So the thing to remember about these pens is that they are paint pens. They're actually water-based paint pens, or sorry, water-based acrylic pens. Now, for me, initially that was very confusing because how can something be water-based and acrylic? So just to give you an idea, acrylic is kind of plasticky. So when you're painting with acrylic paints, it dries plastic. Water-based is like your watercolor paints that activate when it's touched with water. So I kind of was confused by that description initially, but basically what this means is that you have time to blend, you can get a seamless blend, and if you spill on your desk, you're going to be able to clean it up. So those are the most important things to take away for using acrylographs in your bullet journal. So my first impressions of the pens were obviously they're aesthetically pretty. They're very much like the mild liners, which a lot of journalists use for aesthetics in their Instagram pictures. Just with the white, well, mine used to be white, and the pops of colors so you know which one's your color. I did struggle to use them when I first started, and that was more so me not understanding how to use paint pens, and I think that's what's going on, is that Archer & Olive have made these pens a lot more accessible, and very few people know how to use them properly. And so that's kind of bridging that gap between not knowing what you're doing and being comfortable enough to use them. The cons for me, I would say they do seem expensive. If you compare them to other high quality paint pens, the price difference is not that much if you break it down by pen. And also they do go on sale, so that kind of is a workaround that con. Another con for me, which is actually something they've addressed with the new releases, so this pen is from the Tropical collection and it wasn't labeled. I labeled it myself, but the newer ones, this is from the Bewitched collection, and they've started putting the names on the pens, which is great. So that kind of took care of itself. The pros for me, the wide color variety is absolutely fantastic. It's so exciting, and that was the biggest draw. One of the biggest draws for me was the color variety that you get. I love how fine and detailed the tip can be. As you can see, it's dried out there, but how detailed and fine the tip can be. I also love the creaminess of the formula. I have used other paint pens in the past, and this formula is definitely a lot creamier than some of the other formulas out there. So what that means is they are unbelievably opaque. You can use white paper, black paper, craft paper. It's not going to show through. So for me, I use it on a lot of Distress Oxide inks or colorful backgrounds, And these guys just hold their own, and it's so fantastic. It just gives me so many more options to be creative, and also to be creative in a reasonable amount of time. So in the past, if I'd create a layout, I'd do a colorful background, and then I would either print and cut the letters out, or I would do it on a sticker paper and stick it down. But at least with the acrylographs, I can just grab the pen and start doing my lettering. So I mentioned the fine tips for the lettering, which is great. They do have 3mm, some 3mm tips still available. Those aren't the plastic that these tips are, and I like them, but not as much as I love the fine tips. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're very versatile. I use them for writing, lettering, illustration, and just all sorts of fun things. So this is a pen that I got as an extra in a package, and so I'm going to use this pen to show you, because I haven't activated this one or done anything with this one yet. All my pens are swatched and activated and various levels of cleanliness. So I just wanted to grab a new one to talk to you about some of the troubleshooting that you can do. Okay, so when you are using your paint pens, one thing you want to keep in mind is that the tips do get clogged up, especially if you use them one day and then you don't use them again for a week. The tips will get clogged because the paint dries in the tip. So something you can do for that is, if you're done your project and you're not going to use the pen again for a week or however long, you can wash out the nib. If you want to err on the side of caution, definitely go and wash out the nib. Now, you don't have to wash the nib out every time after you use it, but if you're going to leave it for an extended period of time, definitely wash it out. What ends up happening is the paint gets gunked up either at the tip or inside the barrel. Let me show you. Oh, here's one. So this is the tip of the pen. This is the tip of the pen, and this is the pen that goes into the barrel. The paint can get clogged up anywhere along there, so you want to make sure that you're cleaning it out. So this is just a blender pen. The blender pens come empty, so that's why you see me flashing this around without any concern. We can talk to that for a second. So you definitely want to clean out the barrel. When you're activating your pen, you don't want to push too hard. And the reason being, you can damage portions of this tip. You can either damage this end that gets bent and out of shape, or you can damage this end. If you're damaging this end, the pen can get stuck in the barrel, and what happens is the ink pools around it and creates blotches on your page and is really difficult to work with. If that happens, you want to replace the nib immediately, and it'll make a world of difference. What happens at the front here is, if you push too hard, the ends here, now I don't think you can really see it, but they're very fine plastic bits that kind of come together. If you push too hard, you're going to end up bending that, and it's going to get scratchy, or it's going to result again in the paint drying in the tip, pooling and drying funny, and then the ink's going to pool and blotch over everything. So if you look at my gray pen, I definitely pushed too hard on this one, and you can kind of see, oops, you can kind of see how the very tips are bent like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very small bend at the end there, and that results in scratchiness, and that results in scratching the paint off the page. So this is a tip that I'm going to be replacing next time I use this pen. Okay, so when you're activating the pen, you want to make sure to shake the pen a lot. If you think you're done shaking, shake some more, just to be sure. If I'm using a bunch of colors at a time, I would just grab the handful like this and then just shake them all at once. But since I'm demonstrating this, so you shake it up, what you're going to do is you're going to push down to get that activated a bit, and then you're going to shake some more. And then you can see the tip start to fill with ink. Okay, if you don't shake your pen enough, it's going to be watery, or it's going to kind of blob up and gel up in your tip, and that means you haven't shaken it enough. When you find that the tip of your pen runs dry, you're just going to shake it a bit more to make sure that the formula remains blended, activated again, and you can keep going. So that is holding the pen on its side. This is holding the pen more on its tip. Okay, and I can show you with my cool gray what I mean by scratchy. So that was the tip being bent, and you don't have as much control, and you have to keep mind of how you're holding the pen so that you're able to get your colors out. So that one definitely needs to be replaced. The other thing I want to talk to is about how long these pens actually last. So this pen is the one I've used the most. This is the teal from the Tropical Collection. And I have done countless projects using this pen, and it's still going. I don't know for how much longer, but it's still going. This pen and I have been through a lot together. A lot of my troubleshooting has been because of this pen. But we figured it out, and we're making it work. And yeah, I think it's starting to run out of ink, so I have to get this one replaced. And by replaced, I mean buy a new one. So don't be afraid to use these pens. There's always a way around it. If you run into real problems, if you run out of your nibs, you can contact the design team. They'll be willing to help you get some new ones. But really, if you're just gentle with them, and by gentle I mean don't smash it down into the table, but also, you need some force in there. So yeah, that is my general experience. I'll quickly show you the 3mm and how the tip's different. This is the gold tip, and that's the 3mm. So this one's more of a brush kind of texture on the tip. And so, I like this one. This is more standard for chalk pens. From a nib standpoint, versus these are, that's the nib that I like, the acrylic plastic nib. So yeah, you can check these out on the website. I am an affiliate for them. Now, what that means is if you use my link, a small portion of the sale comes to me. I'm not an affiliate because, or I don't love these pens because I'm an affiliate, but rather I'm an affiliate because I love these pens. I'm very particular over who I choose to align with, and I really love what Archer and Olive is doing with their products and as a company. And so I am happy and proud to be one of their affiliates. These do go on sale. If you are checking this out and there isn't currently a sale running, you can use my code NML10 for 10% off. I'll leave that down in the description for you, and you can check that out. I'm also linking to my blog post so that you can bookmark that for easy reference. If you're using your acrylographs and you run into problems, you can definitely check that out. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate having you here. And I'm working on more bullet journal content coming for you, especially in the new year. Thank you so much for watching today.